Okay, it looks as if everybody's logged on. So once again, welcome to our webinar this morning. The subject of the webinar is, as you can probably see on your screen at the moment, recognizing when to upgrade from Sage 50. My name is Alan Gonzalez. I'm a Sage ERP consultant here at Acuity Solutions. Just repeat quickly what I've just been over for those that weren't logged on. Order of things, I'm going to go through the agenda in a second and a bit of an introduction. The overall duration of this webinar is probably going to be about 45 minutes. There will be questions and answers at the end. Up to that point, you'll all be muted, but you will have the opportunity to speak to me, to ask questions at the end. If there are any problems in the interim, as I said, there is a little chat box on the right-hand side of the page at the bottom. So please feel free to type anything in there if you've got any problems hearing me or seeing what's on my screen. Okay, so let's begin. So as I said, my name is Alan Gonzalez. I'm a Sage ERP consultant here at Acuity Solutions. So let's start by talking about who we are. As I said, the agenda is we're going to give you a bit of an overview on Acuity Solutions, look at the challenges, common challenges that you face as Sage 50 users and reasons why you might want to migrate from that product, talking about the things you might need to consider and the drivers for those changes, look at the portfolio options, bit of information on the profile of those products themselves, deployment methods, infrastructure considerations, and the questions and answers at the end. So apologies to those of you that heard that twice. It's just for the benefit of those that joined late. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about who we are. Acuity Solutions are a software consultancy established in 1988, and we've been a Sage business partner for more than 20 years now. One point that I want to make in particular in the light of some of the solutions we're going to be telling you about today is that we are actually Sage's only UK partner who is able to offer all of the solutions that you'll see today, right through from Sage 50 through all of the three other options, 200, 300 and Sage ERP X3 that I'll be telling you a little bit about as we go through this webinar. We are a Sage UK strategic partner and global partner, very closely aligned to the Sage R&D team as well. It's particularly important when you look at the diversity of some of the products that we're going to be describing later on as we go through the session this morning. We're also a fully accredited development partner and have been for 18 plus years. I'll tell you a little bit more a little bit further down the line about what that means. Currently, we support and service about 350 plus customers across the UK and EMEA region, and that international dimension is particularly important in the subject matter for today's webinar, as you'll see again when we talk about the attributes of the products as we work through. We've got about 51 staff working in our offices here in Walton-on-Thames. We do employ, as it says here, some of the most experienced Sage X3 consultants in the country on that product in particular. We've got a fully full-time, fully staffed, dedicated support team based here in Walton-on-Thames. So support is delivered by technical support consultants who are there day in, day out. It's not just a question of consultants on rotation. We also have a full in-house development team, and all of our consultants are full-time employees of Acuity Solutions. They are not subcontractors. Gives us the ability to provide fast, effective responses on site to support demands as and when they're required and provide a very high quality of consultancy. We've been a Sage migration centre for about 6 to 7 years now, and that particularly relates to the journey that a lot of you will be taking from the product that you're on at the moment, from Sage 50 to other products within the Sage Solutions range. And again, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we go through. We're current Sage ERP 300 and Sage ERP X3 Partner of the Year, and we've been Microsoft Gold partners for 10 plus years. That's particularly going to be relevant when we talk at the end about the deployment considerations and options. In terms of products and services, we are a Sage business partner and we provide Sage Finance and ERP solutions. The range of solutions is described there on the screen. Sage 50 you'll all be familiar with. I think most of you that are on this webinar this morning are currently Sage 50 users. And then obviously moving into the other solutions within the range, Sage 200, Sage ERP 300 and Sage ERP X3. We can also provide solutions on the Sage CRM platforms both Sage CRM as an integrated component of the modular suites that I'll be talking about this morning, and also as standalone solutions. And moving beyond that, and I think in particular of relevance to those of you who may already be finding that Sage 50 as a solution has some limitations and might be thinking that perhaps your businesses are moving into the realms where off-the-shelf solutions don't quite fit your needs 100%. We can provide a wide range of Sage solution enhancements, both from the perspective of in-house custom development and third-party add-on solutions that are complementary to the core Sage products, of which we partner with all of the major partners in the UK, and I can talk to you a little bit about more of those at the end for those of you that are interested. Clearly, a big part of what we do is offer the professional services to implement the solutions that we'll be talking about today, and that involves a wide range of disciplines, from detailed system requirements analysis and scoping, thorough methodology on project management following Prince2, implementation, configuration and integration services to enable you to get the solution that you want up and running, tailored to your requirements in an efficient, effective and as I said, methodical way. A wide range of consultancy and training services that we can deliver once the system is in place as well. And indeed, something that can be particularly important as companies move up through the requirements and the limitations of some of the off-the-shelf products that you might have, looking at the options that you might want to get of data out of the system. We can offer a wide range of solutions for that, using the native report writers in the applications, but also enhanced reporting and analysis services such as Crystal and Business Intelligence, which we'll be talking about again when we look in more detail at the products. And I think another important thing in particular nowadays is integration development and consultancy. Whilst the Sage solutions are modular in their nature nowadays and tend to cover a wide range of business disciplines, there are still nonetheless certain market sectors and certain specific businesses that require specialized applications that might run alongside their business management software. This is very central to what we do nowadays, and indeed is a component of probably at least half of the Sage software implementation projects that we run nowadays. In terms of development services, again, should emphasize we have a dedicated in-house development team. So again, it's not outsourced or subcontracted. We do have full-time in-house developers, and it's important in particular when we're looking at some of the considerations that come along with the step up from one solution to another within the Sage range. We'll talk about the capabilities that we have to deliver infrastructure and managed services, both in terms of supply and installation, and also services to support and maintain those systems once they're in place. Okay, now I think it's important you want to know, or I've given you a bit of an overview about Acuity Solutions and who we are, but why would Sage recommend Acuity to you as a partner of choice? And I think that the points that you can see on screen here hopefully are key ones. We are a key strategic partner. We've got a relationship with Sage that dates back many years, as I've already emphasized. We've been a Circle of Excellence partner for customer satisfaction. We have excellent partner alliances with third-party vendors. Many of the solutions that we deliver may well involve third-party non-Sage products alongside the core Sage solution. Very experienced Sage UK Sage 200 partners, and Sage 200 for many of you might be the logical next step. It is Sage's core mid-market solution, and again later on I'm going to give you a little bit more background about that. But I think in particular the next point is relevant as well when we look at one or two of the other products we'll be talking about today. We're highly experienced in UK and global rollouts of both the Sage 300 and Sage ERP X3 solutions. So from that context, I think from an international dimension, we certainly would be the preferred partner, as it says in the next point. Also, we are the only partner accredited to deploy all three of the solutions that we'll talk about today. We can provide you with some excellent references and integration achievements, talking about some of the experiences we've had with our existing customers across all three of those solutions as well. Okay, so let's move on now to look at some of the reasons why you might want or need to migrate from the Sage 50 product to some of the alternative solutions that exist within the Sage range. Typical considerations are the ones that you'll see on the screen there. Primarily it will be things to do with the level of activity that goes on through the business application, so the number of users, the volume of transactions that you're putting through the software itself, but it might also touch on some functional issues such as open period accounting, multiple dimensions of analysis on the reporting, multi-currency requirements that some of you might find limitations within the Sage 50 environment on, a requirement for more detailed management reporting, indeed some more specific functional requirements such as more complex evolving processes relating to the commercials area of the application, so stock locations, sales order and procurement processes that involve back-to-back or dependency, batch and serial traceability on products, or indeed complex or special pricing structures. Now, these are all things that many of you might well find in common already, things that you've experienced with your current Sage 50 solution. We'll move on to talk about some of those in a little bit more detail. In particular on the user counts, and this is something that some of you may well, judging by some of the profile information we have, already have noticed. Sage 50 only officially supports up to 6 users according to Sage, and it tends to be the case that if you have user counts in addition to that or in excess of that, you will notice quite quickly considerably slower system performance when you have more than 5, 6, 7 users logged in. It's important to emphasize this is because Sage 50 is based on a proprietary database which is supplied with the product. It has a relatively flat structure and it does tend to create a situation where Sage 50 prevents multiple users from carrying out the same task at the same time. Another key performance issue that many Sage 50 sites encounter as their businesses grow is limitations related to transaction volume. The software typically only copes with a limited number of transactions up to about the 100,000 mark. It tends to mean that the greater the volume of orders or indeed the greater the volume of items on a sales order that you have, you will quickly notice the system slowing down as extra data is added into it. Now, those are more sort of technical issues. There are, of course, a number of functional issues related to the software as well that you might already be encountering, such as open period accounting. Sage 50's functionality allows users to post to open periods after management reports or period ends have been run, which often creates inaccuracies in reporting. It's also effectively only a single level nominal structure with Sage 50, so it doesn't really support cost centers or departments or indeed additional layers of analysis or segmentation on the general ledger or nominal ledger. Another area in particular is multiple currencies. Sage 50 has very basic foreign currency management processes and doesn't typically allow you to effectively manage foreign exchange gain and loss through your nominal ledger. Other areas then moving on from that, from the financials, people tend to encounter issues related to its commercials functionality. Sage 50 doesn't, for example, support multiple stock locations, so if you have more than one warehouse or indeed you have bin or aisle locations in those warehouses, Sage 50 doesn't support that sort of level of organization within a warehouse environment. And it certainly doesn't support any form of product traceability. So, for example, those of you that might be in a technical environment where you produce items that have specific serial numbers or indeed support contracts that are specifically aligned to a particular product, or indeed products that are perishable and that have use by or sell by dates where stock rotation is an important factor to avoid wastage, Sage 50 again can't really provide a solution from that perspective. So looking at what the typical drivers for change are, how do you get to the situation where you start to experience those? Well, primarily it's through business growth. Sage as an organization have a range that is a range of solutions that is constructed to be complementary and recognizes the fact that businesses grow and evolve. And business growth is really typically the primary issue that creates this sort of situation. So acquisition, expansion, multiple locations, multiple stock locations, expansion into other global regions, and in particular when we start to talk about solutions and their specifics, you'll find that some of those solutions are particularly suited to companies that are expanding out into different geographical regions and need to have a business solution that supports the considerations that go along with that. Another might be centralizing disparate systems. Now, it doesn't really matter. Even if you're a small business, you may well find that you started with Sage 50 for finance management and your warehouse management is run using another database, maybe something you've constructed yourself, and you want to start pulling those things together. Certainly, that's something that tends to drive companies to look at more modular solutions. Increase visibility of activity to a wider user audience. So you might want to start to involve different departments in the company, sales departments, warehouse management departments, even production or project management departments, for example. You may want to expand the system operation, so pretty much along the lines of what we've talked about here. But you may have, for example, consultants or external partners that you want to involve to a certain degree. You may also want to improve business processes and efficiency, so to make the most of the staff and resources that you have. But again, starting to look at the technical limitations of the products, you might have issues where you want to manage higher transaction volumes and avoid those system performance issues that we've talked about. One slightly negative way of looking at it is that you may well have had experiences of data corruptions if you already do have that volume of either users or transactions in the system, and that's really a bit of a red flag that is telling you that it's probably time to be looking at a slightly more robust solution. You may also have a demand for greater analysis and more detailed reporting, and we'll talk about the solutions that we have on that side of things, and improve stock management and costing methods. So looking at what those primary drivers for change are, really it touches on those areas here. You might be looking to increase productivity, improve your understanding of what's going on in your business. Those two things might actually go hand in hand. You might be looking to expand your operations beyond your existing arena, be it either your geographical arena, or you may be looking to diversify your company's activities. And you may, in challenging trading circumstances, be looking to manage your business in a way that provides you with a more cost-effective grip on the way that you're interacting with your customers and suppliers. The idea is that looking at an alternative solution will provide you with improvements in efficiency, real-time business reviews of data, scalability, so solutions that you can confidently say, if I implement this business management solution within the business, it's entirely conceivable that we could still be using the same solution in 10, 15 plus years time. And fundamentally, systems that have a low total cost of ownership by covering a broad range of disciplines within the business, and again reduce the requirement to expand and add on to those solutions and the additional cost that might be accompanied with that. Now, in terms of what you will be looking to achieve is obviously best practice and the simplicity in processes, providing the right information to the right people at the right time, be able to have a multi-company solution that enables you to easily conform to the compliance requirements, be they fiscal or indeed the process requirements of the businesses that you're in, and consolidate your systems into a single simplified system. And Sage has a range of 3 solutions that can offer all of those attributes dependent on the type of business and your specific requirements. So thinking about that, looking at the type of business and your requirements and where it all fits together, the slide that I'm showing at the moment shows the way that the Sage UK product portfolio is structured. So you can see that on the left-hand side of the screen, we have products that are fundamentally or primarily aimed at the domestic UK market. So you can see at the bottom, Sage 50 really is a UK domestic product. Sage 202 is primarily aimed at companies that are certainly based in the UK and for whom the fiscal reporting requirements are UK VAT. The Sage ERP X3 standard product is a scaling up in that arena, so it would be suitable for companies that have a larger scale or more diverse functional set of requirements, but are still fundamentally within the UK. Although you can see that the Sage ERP X3 solution also transcends into the global environment, and those products that are mentioned on the right are fundamentally aimed at companies that are likely to be having a multiple geography deployment and arena of activities, if you like. So the Sage 300 and Sage ERP X3 solutions are therefore primarily aimed at companies that would have activities in countries other than the UK and beyond the UK market. Okay, so looking a little bit more about how they stack up, the slide here really shows you how these products sort of fit into the scale of organizations, either in terms of number of employees, and you can see here Sage 50 at the bottom there, typically aimed at companies with up to 20 employees, although transcending that a little bit, Sage 200 going a little bit beyond that. A little higher up in the screen, the Sage ERP 300 product, possibly larger organizations with a broader base, and at the top there the Sage ERP X3 standard and premium products, really moving into the upper mid-market and enterprise level to companies with 200 plus employees, 20 million plus turnover. And you can see on the left hand side there that as you go up that axis on the left, it just represents where these solutions fit in terms of their application to companies that are trading in different geographies, as I've already mentioned. In terms of the business requirements of those, again, you can see that this slide typically represents the same sort of scale, if you like. So starting with fairly simple, small-scale requirements on the left-hand side, moving up to larger international and indeed larger functional requirements as we go up to the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, now I'm going to start talking about a bit of an overview of the three solutions individually now, starting off with Sage 200, which for many of you may be the next logical step in the process from Sage 50. Sage 200 is Sage's flagship small to medium-sized business product. It's sold, supported and implemented exclusively via a business partner channel. It is a modular solution that provides business-wide ERP solutions should they be required. It is very scalable. It is possible to start simply with the core financials and add on the additional modules that complement the business functions that you can see on the screen there. So moving from straightforward accounts, moving through to sales, marketing, retail, trade counter, warehouse, professional services, and all of those other modules, including things like construction. Typically applicable to companies with a turnover of between 1 and 50 million, up to 200 employees. Fundamentally, UK businesses, single or multi-site entities, but Sage 200 is constructed to provide you with out-of-the-box fiscal compliance for UK VAT reporting, and a typical user will have their profile set up and dedicated to a set range of specific tasks. It is far and away the most popular product in the mid-range within the UK, as over 32,000 organisations use this particular product, and it does have a 25% market share in that 50 to 250 employee range. It is very much a natural progression for Sage 50 users for a number of reasons, which we can elaborate on. But I just want to move on to the next slide here, just to give you a quick look at it. What you can see here is a screenshot of the Sage 200 solution itself. And for those of you that use Sage 50, that point I've just made about seeing it as a logical progression was probably self-evident, because you can see that the overall look and feel, in particular with this user interface, will be very familiar to those of you that use Sage 50 with your menu on the left-hand side and all your modules there below it. The process maps might be something that's a little bit unfamiliar. List views are also available in Sage 200, but nonetheless, the fact is that most users that have got some experience in Sage 50 will find the transition very simple and straightforward. And I think that's particularly important in terms of its applicability to companies that are thinking about the recruitment of staff. If you have Sage 200 in place and you want to recruit staff in your finance department, if you recruit somebody that has familiarity with an experience of Sage 50, they will quickly be able to adjust to Sage 200. That's just one user interface option with Sage 200, and what you can see on the screen here is a new and more modern and dynamic user interface, workspaces that provide a much more interactive and configurable screen layout that also give you very quick and dynamic access to data in the system in a kind of interrelated way, if you like. And I should add that if any of you want a more detailed demonstration of any of these products, of course, please do ask us and we'll be happy to do that. Just moving on, looking at some of the other examples. Again, you can see here the Sage 200 workspace user interface option, and it's important to add that there is a mobile client for Sage 200 as well. So you can see straight away that it's much more than a solution that you would simply use in a desktop deployment environment. What you can also see on the screen now, which is a particular new development from the most recent release of Sage 200, which is the 2013 release, you can see here that what we've got is a web client access. So indeed, it's something that it can be accessed from wherever you are, as long as you've got access to your Sage 200 network. Moving on to the next product of the three that we're going to be talking about today. Going to be talking about the Sage ERP 300 solution. Now, this is in terms of its position, if you like, in the product range. Thinking back to the slide that I showed you with the left and right axis and the graph of where the products sit, Sage 300 also is what we would consider to be a mid-range solution, although it certainly can be scaled up to a larger deployment environment as well. Again, it is sold and implemented via a partner network, but in the case of Sage 300, it is a global business partner network. Again, in common with Sage 200, it's a modular solution that offers business-wide ERP solutions, which are typically deployed by selection of the modules that are applicable to you. And as you can see here, those modules extend right from the core financials across CRM, sales management, purchase management, inventory, manufacturing, and indeed business intelligence as well. This is typically aimed at companies with turnover of 5 to 30 million, and again up to 200 employees. The distinction really would be that Sage ERP 300 is specifically designed to cater for the requirements of UK companies that are trading or have trading entities in other geographies, or indeed companies that are multinational. As with Sage 200, a typical user might be dedicated to a specific set of tasks, so they might primarily operate within the CRM environment, they might primarily operate within the commercials environment. That is, again, deployed dependent on their user profile and the modules that are selected. Sage ERP 300 has full system-wide multi-currency capabilities, and indeed there are additional language pack options that are available for Sage 300. Also, it caters very well for intercompany trading. So if you have, as an organization, entities in more than one geography that often trade with each other and buy and sell intercompany transactions taking place, then Sage 300 ERP is very well geared to cater for that. The solution has over 45,000 organizations that use it across 150 countries, and I think that's very important to place an emphasis on that this is very much a solution that is deployed globally. It's quite rare that you will find a mid-range software vendor who has a product which is the same product in every geography around the world, and that is very much the case with Sage ERP 300. You can see an example of a screen here from Sage ERP 300. So you can see we have different options as to how you access the data. On the left-hand side, we've got a very typical tree view menu, but in the middle of the screen here, we've got more of a graphical user interface. And the idea here is that visual process flows give your user a more job-orientated view of how they will be interacting with the system, and an easy access to the tasks that they need to accomplish in order for them to process the flows of data or activities that their job requires them to do. And here's a graphical layout. It's very easy to click on the individual activities. You can see the little green buttons on the screen there, and the process milestone will then move through the activity flow. What you can see here, as with Sage 200, is the web client access. So again, you can see that we're viewing the data in a browser, and we've got a dashboard access here. We've got a number of different gadgets on the dashboard. Across the top there you can see shortcuts accessing the general ledger, accounts receivable and accounts payable modules, and quick and easy visibility of a number of KPIs, aged payables, aged receivables, some balance sheet data there as well. And this brings us on to the other international product in our range, which is Sage ERP X3. Now, this really is a product of choice for businesses that will place a higher priority on singular integration and consolidation of all business operations. Now, particularly what we mean by that is that the other two solutions that I've shown to you today, both Sage 200 and Sage ERP 300, are indeed multi-company products by default. So you can run as many companies as you want within those environments, but in the case of Sage 200 and Sage 300, each of those companies will have its own individual unique data set. Sage ERP X3, one of its unique attributes that it is a single data set application that enables multiple entities to be managed within that using segmentation. It's very much orientated towards companies that have business operations that involve quite a lot of advanced or flexible distribution manufacturing capabilities, so may well be well orientated to companies that make and distribute products. It is a very technically advanced product, real-time dashboards, very powerful business intelligence tools featured in Sage X3, and you'll tell from some of the points that I've made here that it is very much orientated towards companies that where the scale and diversity of their operations are moving up within the range towards the enterprise level. So again, as you can see on the right hand side there, if your objectives include the wish to achieve consistent user interfaces across all business functions, extended scalability and adaptability to change, so the company might be evolving and incorporating processes that you have not previously incorporated, or indeed you've got more of a supply chain organization where you require collaboration and interdependence and a lot of interaction and high visibility of information in that process, then Sage ERP X3 would be very well suited to that. And you can see there from the graphic that's very well suited to providing functionality across areas such as purchasing, manufacturing, warehouse management and inventory management as well. It's very important to emphasize that this product now is Sage's key global offering for medium-sized enterprises. As with the two products that I've already told you about, it's implemented via a global business partner network, of which, as I said, we are one of the only companies in the UK that can provide you with all three of these solutions. Fundamentally, you would expect to be, if you're looking at X3, a company with a turnover of between 10 and 500 million, almost certainly to be a larger scale UK company, or indeed possibly a multinational. Again, Sage ERP X3 is designed to cater for the requirements of companies that need to trade in multiple languages and multiple currencies, and therefore where their fiscal compliance requirements may relate to different geographies. And we touched on the concept of multi-dimension analysis, and this is something that's very much central to the features and functionality of both the Sage ERP X3 product and the Sage ERP 300 product. So on your general ledger, you can have multiple dimensions, multiple segmentation on the general ledger. It gives you a lot of detail in your business analysis. I think in particular with X3, also, if your business is moving into an environment where your manufacturing resource planning requirements are starting to become central to the business management process, then it's something that that would certainly lead you to look very closely at Sage ERP X3. Also, as a solution, it is designed to present and manage those functions very much with a visual process, and I'll come on to that in a second, but I really wanted to emphasize that Sage ERP X3 is a truly global product. So you can see there on my screen, it's currently active in 60 countries. There are 4,000 plus customers around the world, which is 250,000 individual users, and 200 partners globally that sell and support the product. So again, it is a true global product. A second. Okay, so touching on that concept of visual processes, and again, similar to the slide that I showed you on the Sage ERP 300 products, you can see here that Sage X3 is very much orientated towards visually constructed menus with standard templates in order to channel the functions and activities within a company in a very logical and visual manner. So again, complements very well more complex requirements and interdependencies and interoperabilities within companies. Again, you can see here some examples of some of the visual data presentations. Again, role orientated and personalized to individual users. Very much configured to conform to particular business process requirements. Dashboards are designed really on a tailored basis according to your requirements as a business and the analysis that you need to get out of the application. And indeed, as before, dashboard orientated to give you quick and easy and interactive access to a range of detailed KPIs that suit your business requirements. Now, I want to talk now about business intelligence because it's a feature of all three of the products that we've talked about today, and one of the things that we touched on in terms of the requirements that you may well have from the product is a requirement for much more detailed analysis and intelligence of the data that goes on within your business. All three of the solutions that we've talked about today come with business intelligence functionality included in them. Now, the slide on the screen there is focusing primarily on the Sage 200 database, but this is common with all of the three solutions we've got here. Business intelligence very much works on extracting data from your database, and in every case, these are true business intelligence applications, so they work in the traditional way that they do with business intelligence, which is to extract the data from the data warehouse, apply three-dimensional cubes of analysis to enable you to see your data in multiple dimensions. And typically, it will present this through an Excel front end, very easy and user-friendly to manipulate so that you can produce a wide range of easily manipulated graphs and charts using pivot tables in Excel. The technology that this is based on is Microsoft SQL. I guess one of the particular attributes of the Excel front end is, of course, that you'll all have Microsoft Office in your company. You'll probably be very familiar with managing and manipulating data in Excel. So it's, again, a very easy and user-friendly way of accessing that. But the interesting thing is the idea of what does it give you that flat reporting doesn't. Now, you understand that when you produce a set of standard reports from a business application, you will have asked for a certain set of criteria. It will present that information to you in a very two-dimensional fashion. Business intelligence, I can't emphasize enough, allows you to apply multiple dimensions, the cube of analysis, three-dimensional analysis, so that you can get a much more diverse and dynamic view on your data, including things like what-if scenarios and trends and analysis over time and comparisons. So there's an extensive amount of functionality that's delivered by the business intelligence applications in all three of the business solutions we've talked about, and we'd be happy to talk to you about those in more detail. This is an example. This is actually a Sage 200 business intelligence report, just illustrating the fact that the way that the data is delivered is in Excel. So what you can see here is a profit and loss by cost center, just showing the way that it can be presented on screen within an Excel format. And again, what you can see here is the same method of presenting it in Excel, but in this case, obviously, what we've got is a pivot table that's got a nice bar chart there showing us what the average settlement days are for our top customers. Similarly, again, we've got an Excel spreadsheet here showing what our top 20 products are, and looking at the the values that we can see here. We've got options to look at the goods value and base currency, the invoice date, what type of transactions. So are we interested in just orders? Are we interested in returns? Are we interested in all transaction types? There's a great deal of versatility within this. And then finally here we've got a little sales dashboard. So again, just an example of the types of charts that can be presented using the Excel output that the business intelligence applications enable you to have. So here we've got a sales dashboard showing us our revenue for the last 6 periods, our growth in percentage terms versus the same period last year, year-on-year revenue and growth, and period revenue and growth. So you can see that in a very easy to understand visual format. Now, I said at the beginning we'll be talking about deployment options because there are a range of deployment options for the solutions that we've talked about today, and broadly speaking falling into 3 categories. On-premise, so single or multi-server deployments dependent on the scale of the solution, number of users, range of modules and business functions that it touches on. All of these applications are based on a Microsoft SQL database platform, industry standard robust database platform. The second alternative is online subscription-based solutions. So again, hosted. So there is no installation within your own network. You access the application and pay for it on a per user per month basis. And of course there is the option of purchasing the software but deploying it on a hosted platform, so rack-based data center equipment on a monthly subscription to access the infrastructure that you're utilizing. And again, I should emphasize here that this is something that is very much a solution that and a service that we can provide. We have a dedicated infrastructure team, both technical and commercial consultants that can advise you on options for any of these methods of deployments, including supplying hardware on which you may want to deploy the solution if you choose on-premise, or indeed advising you on the rack-based options. Now, it certainly is an important consideration. Those of you that are using Sage 50, which I think is pretty much everybody on this webinar this morning, will know that it's pretty lightweight in terms of its system requirements. It is worth emphasizing that all 3 of the solutions that we talked about today do work on a Windows Server Microsoft SQL database platform. So in conjunction with the functional and technical requirements of the application itself, there are of course the deployment considerations that you need to take on board. And as I said, you know, my colleagues will be happy to assist you with that process if that's something that you need to understand in more detail. This is just a further slide discussing that really. So single or multi-server requirements to support the application, Microsoft SQL database management. As I said, it is a transition to a different type of deployment with a separate set of system requirements for those that you'd be used to Sage 50. So we'd strongly advise you to talk to my colleague Ross, be able to assist you with that process and take you through that journey. Other issues on the infrastructure side of things relate to the deployment methods that we've talked about. So already discussed some of the options that exist in terms of the on-premise server deployment of a solution. Online subscription and hosted models have come into the Sage offering over the last couple of years, so there is a significant amount of flexibility in how you can obtain the software and how indeed it can be deployed. So again, dependent on your circumstances and your existing IT infrastructure, do speak to us about the options that are open to you for the particular solution that you choose, and we'd be happy to advise you on all of those, including the online subscription and hosted infrastructure options. Slide that you can see on the screen at the moment is just a cross-section really of some examples of some of the customers that we support, and I think that what it does is reflects 2 things really. One is the diverse range of business environments that Sage Solutions are applicable to. We've got everything there from charitable organisations, large-scale, very specialist commercial organisations, retailers, project-orientated professional services organisations, and I think from our point of view that's always been one of the reasons why we work with Sage, because they have a range of solutions that suit that diversity. I think what it also illustrates is our experience as a reseller, and there aren't too many business environments that we do not have some familiarity with and experience of implementing Sage within. So you can be very confident that we can help you in your own business requirements, and I think it is important to emphasize that point, because a significant difference between a product like Sage 50, which is essentially an off-the-shelf generic product, and a mid-range solution is that regardless of the generic functionality that exists within the mid-range solution, it's unlikely that any two organizations will have it configured quite the same, and I think that the diversity of the customers that you can see on the screen there emphasizes that. Okay, so that brings me to the conclusion from my point of view of the information for today's webinar. So I'm going to throw it open now to any of you that might have any particular questions. So I will unmute you and be happy to field any questions. So fire away.
This will probably have led to the crash in the first place. I can't remember. Right.
Okay. Doesn't seem as if we have any specific questions. I'm not sure that all of you can access the audio to speak. Obviously, we do have the little chat area down in the bottom there, but don't forget that obviously if you do require any further information, then do please feel free to contact us. I just get the last slide up on there. Just thank you for attending the webinar this morning. There's my contact details if you'd like to contact myself, or indeed please feel free to call us if you've got any questions on anything that we've spoken about today, and we'll be happy to provide some further information and obviously demonstrate the software in any particular detail that you require. We do run these webinars periodically, so if there are any other particular areas that you're interested in understanding on a specific product level, then please let us know. Your feedback's always appreciated, and it does help us to make sure that we provide the information that is most relevant to you guys. But once again, thanks very much for attending, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thanks a lot.